Because I did my homework. I listened to the watched on YouTube. There she is.
Molly. It's okay.
Now I can.
I liked it. I didn't get sushi. You got some junk going up in the theater.
Hi guys in the back.
Alright, give me your.
All right. Hey Mackenzie. Thank you. Remember one of the things about listening? Okay, we got to stay seated if we're going to listen. All right. Cool. All right. Okay. I did my homework. I watched on YouTube the One Direction song "Fireproof." You didn't think I'd do that, did you? All right, this is your homework. All right? This is not related to this confirmation at all. All right? You need to listen to the Fleetwood Mac song "Landslide." All right? Fleetwood Mac "Landslide." All right? Go to YouTube, just search on YouTube, Fleetwood Mac "Landslide," you'll find it. Okay? There you go. Now, what song do I need to listen to? Don't tell me One Direction, you gotta give me something else. All right?
Jason Derulo, talk dirty to me.
No! What is it?
No.
All right, so then, okay, so this is my question. Okay, this is my question for you. All right? He suggested a song, you all said no. So does that mean you all have listened to it?
Yes.
So my question is why? If you're embarrassed that I would listen to it, why are you listening to it?
It comes on the radio, but we turn it off.
Okay. All right. How many people have YouTubed it? How many people have it on their iPhone? So back to my question, all right? If you're embarrassed for me to listen to it, why are you listening to it? Why is it on your iPhone? Right?
Great question.
Because we're supposed to, right? We're supposed to live as disciples, right? We're supposed to live in Jesus. And if you're embarrassed for me to see it, why are you listening to it?
I'm not. My brother downloaded it. And whatever he
Oh, that's a good
downloads on
story.
his phone
Okay.
goes to my phone.
All right. Okay. You hear me? That's my point. Okay. All right. Everybody take out a pen. All right. I have pop quiz. Nope. All right. Rachel, why don't you make sure everybody's got one of those? All right. There's a pop quiz. On your reading, you see it. Listen up. Okay. Thank you. It is a pop quiz on the reading. If you have listened, if you read the reading, this ought to be a breeze. If you didn't, it's going to be tough. All right? It's going to be, like I said, if you read it, it's going to be easy because most of these questions have several answers. Okay? And I'll be able to tell. Be sure to put your name on it. It should take you more than a couple minutes. Okay? In here. All right? See who's ready. Each one of these probably could be answered in a couple of words. I'm not looking for essays, guys. I'm just looking for. I'll be able to tell you if you read it simply by what you answered. Okay, 1, 2 word answers can cover. All right. Yes.
I can?
What's that?
Can I collect them?
No, Molly's doing it for us.
Can I collect like this table? Like,
It's okay. Molly's doing it. You're the cameraman. All right? We need to share. Does anybody want to fess up whether they read or not? Since I'm going to be able to tell. Who read?
I read this.
I skipped through the pages.
All right. Who read the homework? That's not bad. About half. All right. How long did it take you?
A long time. I'm a slow reader.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Half hour?
Maybe because we talk about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That took 15. Takes me about a half an hour. Okay. In order to read it. All right. You got everybody's? Okay.
No, I got Jason.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. I'll look at those. When you guys are watching. Okay. Let me look. All right. Good. Thank you. All right. Who prayed last week? Start us off. Good. You're off the hook. Who wants to pray this week? All right. You're up.
Okay. Dear Lord, thank you for letting us have a good week so far. Let's have a good second half of the week. Thank you for letting us all gather at confirmation class and let us have a good confirmation class.
Amen. Thank you. All right. You're ready. Let's do a little review here. Get you on the stuff.
In the beginning, God created the universe, and within it, a planet called Earth. God's Spirit hovered over the dark and empty surface, speaking life into it. Light appeared. Sky and land split from the oceans. Trees and plants grew. Days and nights began, and all kinds of creatures filled the earth. Humans were formed in God's image to continue God's work. Things were really good. But soon, humans decided we want to live our way, not God's. In their struggle for control, selfishness and violence filled the world. So God started over with just Noah and his family. A few generations later, God made this covenant to a man named Abraham. The land around you, as far as you can see, is now yours. Your family will be as many as the stars and will be my blessing to the entire world. Years passed. Then miraculously, in their old age, Abraham and his wife had their only son, Isaac, just as God promised decades earlier. Later, Isaac had twins, Jacob and Esau. Then Jacob had 12 sons. The youngest, Joseph, moved the family to Egypt, saving them from a famine. There, they grew into a large nation, a people called to be different, to remind everyone what it looks like to live in God's ways.
All right, we picked up a little bit of chapter 3 going in. If I had 30 weeks with you all, we would have done 3. All right. The fact that I've only got about 16 weeks with you, we're moving around. Okay. To be able to get you the story. Okay. Now, if you want to delay confirmation, we could do. If you want to delay confirmation, I can talk to Pastor John. We can do confirmation October, and just go for the next 30 weeks. You want to do that? You do, Molly?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So let me do this with you. Remember we've talked about upper story and lower story, right?
Yes.
You with me in terms, right? Okay, upper story. The lower story is what? Lower story is what? Okay, what's the upper story? Yeah,
The main things that happen?
the what?
The main things that happen?
Right, the main things that happen, right? Very good. So the upper story is the main things that happen. This big story arc from where? From where?
Creation?
To
Now?
when? Now, keep going, right? You haven't got that far, right? To Revelation? We're piecing in this big story, what's this whole story of the Bible? So if that's the upper story, what's the lower story? What's the lower story today? Those of you who read, what's the story? Oh, come on, guys. I can go get the sheets and call on them, because I know, you told me who knows it. Okay, so somebody who knows it, tell me what the lower story is this week. Yeah.
Is it about Moses?
It's about Moses. Thank you. See? All right. Fess up time. Who knew that? See? You guys are smart. All right? So, let's do a little review with you, okay, on upper story that we've gotten so far. What are some of the pieces on this upper story that we've covered so far? What's some of the pieces from first week? Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. I gave you the first one. What else is on this story? Yep, you answered. Somebody else. Sam. What else? Jade. What else?
Jane.
Justin.
Like,
Brethren classes.
it was like descendants of Abraham.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll put it down there. Somebody else help out. All right.
Promises.
Promises to who?
Noah and Moses.
Okay. All right. Promise. She's right. Promise to who? In the story, yes.
Noah.
To Noah. Okay. All right. Okay. Is that the only promise? No, you know. Somebody else. Let somebody else do it. All right. Is that the only promise? Yeah.
Promise to Abraham.
Very good. All right. All right. There's one more. Other promise was to who?
Moses.
Moses. That's this week. Okay. You're down here. That's good. Hang on to that. Whoever said that. All right. Back up. There's one right here that we've been missing. I know you know. Put your hand. Yes.
Adam and Eve.
What?
Adam and Eve.
Very good. All right. All right. Descendants of Abraham. All right. Creation call us in. Promise to Abraham. Promise to Noah. Adam and Eve. Promise to Noah. Promise to Abraham. Descendants of Abraham. Right. Is there anything else? Okay. Look okay? Look good? You like that? Okay, I do too. That's good. Okay. So this is this big picture. Remember, we started here with this fall into sin, and we could put in here, all right, how humans messed it up, right? Not only had to fall into sin, and you had all the stuff before the flood. So there's a promise to Abraham, promise to Noah, promise to Adam and Eve, promise to Noah, promise to Abraham, okay, in here. And there's a couple of promises in here. We didn't really talk about that in here, but there was a couple of promises. One that Abraham would have, right, you said descendants, right? Anybody remember the second promise? There's three promises, right? This is trivia time because we didn't catch it. Right? One is descendants, two is land, and three will be a blessing. Okay? And what we're going to see here is this story is how God is taking those promises and making those promises happen. Okay? Right? With the exception of the parents here, how many of your parents have made a promise and then didn't keep it? Yeah, I know. Put your hand down. You can put your hand down. You can put your hand down. All right? All right. Right. Sam, you can put your hand down too. All right? Everybody else, right? The same way, right? My parents did the same thing. Okay? It just happens, right? Okay. How many of you made a promise and not lived up to it? Yeah. Okay. Now you can put your hand down. Right? What we're going to see here is this unfolding story is how God makes promises and then how God's going to bring that promise to fulfillment. He's going to live up to that promise. Okay. Anybody remember what we struggled with last week? What we talked about last week? We really struggled. We talked a lot about it. Okay. In here. Yeah.
Like killing your child with like a sacrifice.
Oh yeah. All right. It was not just random killing kids, right? But you want to clarify that a little bit because they're watching on video here and they're going to say, "Oh, Pastor Mark's killing. We're talking about killing kids."
Because like God told you to. If God told you to kill your child.
Okay. God told. Help him. God told Abraham, right, to sacrifice Isaac, right? Okay. All right. And we struggle with the whole idea of sacrificing your children. Remember that? Okay. We talked about it from the parent standpoint. We struggled with that. We were all kind of bewildered parent standpoint, and you guys were kind of blurry-eyed, here as well about thinking about that as too. And we tied that back to Jesus. Remember? Everybody with me, right? Kind of remembering now? Okay. All right. This whole story, what we're doing, builds on each other. Every week builds on the next one. Okay? That's why we're taking the time to go back and kind of review a little bit. Each week builds on the last. We're building a story, right? How many people have read the Harry Potter books? Well, that didn't help. How many seen the movies? How many seen the movies? All right? All right. When you watch the movies, did you start at the beginning? Yeah, okay. So, if you watch the movie, Harry Potter movies in here, what would have happened if you just suddenly started at the 7th one? Right! Be so lost, right?
I was lost even when I started.
Right, okay. So, it's the same thing with the Bible in here. To understand the pieces and how this story fits, you got to start at the beginning. Okay. All right. You ready for this week? So let me hobble over here. Sam can relate to me hobbling around, right, Sam?
Yes.
All right. Watch this. This is this week's.
After Joseph and his brothers died, the population of Israelites living in Egypt exploded. It grew so large that the new Pharaoh was fearful that they would form an army against Egypt. So he made the Israelites slaves, forcing them to make bricks all day long. Then Pharaoh took it a step further. He issued a ruling that all newborn Hebrew boys should be killed. Soon after that, an Israelite woman gave birth to a son. Fearful he would be killed, she put him in a basket and placed him in the Nile River. The basket floated downstream and was found by Pharaoh's daughter. She raised the boy in Pharaoh's palace as if he were her own child. She named him Moses. Years later, Moses saw an Egyptian beating an Israelite slave. Moses became angry and murdered the Egyptian. Fearing for his own life, Moses fled into the wilderness where he became a shepherd. One day while he was tending his flock, he saw something incredible. A bush that was engulfed in flames but was not burning up. Then Moses heard God's voice coming from the bush. God had seen the suffering of the Israelites and wanted Moses to lead the people out of Egypt. So Moses went back to Egypt and met with Pharaoh. He asked that the Israelites be given a short break from their labor to hold a festival to worship God. Pharaoh not only denied the request, but made the Israelites' work even more difficult to punish them. But this was just the beginning. To prove that God was on Israel's side, God brought great disasters called plagues on Egypt. God made all the water of Egypt turn into blood, filled the land with frogs and insects, sent diseases to kill the Egyptian animals, gave the people terrible sores, and brought terrible thunderstorms and terrifying darkness. Then God sent one final plague. God protected the Israelites by giving instructions to each family to take a perfect sheep, sacrifice it, and put its blood on the door frames of their houses. The Israelites did what God commanded. At midnight, God moved throughout Egypt, and every firstborn son, including Pharaoh's, were killed. But God passed over every house that had blood on its doorframe. Pharaoh was so overwhelmed that he practically begged the Israelites to leave. So in the middle of the night, after living there for 430 years, the Israelites left Egypt. However, Pharaoh once again changed his mind and sent his armies after the Israelites. They chased them for miles until finally they trapped the Israelites at the edge of the Red Sea. But God instructed Moses to strike the water with his walking stick. When he did, a strong wind blew across the sea, creating dry land for the Israelites to walk across. After they reached the other side, God caused the water to crash back down, drowning all of the Egyptians who were following close behind. The Israelites journeyed far away from Egypt. Along the way, God took care of them, giving them quail in the evenings and flaky bread called manna in the mornings. Many times the Israelites complained about their living conditions, but Moses would remind them of God's goodness and continue to lead them toward the land God had promised them.
Right, if you would, on your daily sheet you give me in that one of the upper corners there, that with the one with the eye, right? If you would write a symbol, a story, or something, a couple of words in here, your thoughts represent in here the story to you. All right. Yes, sir.
I don't think I got one.
There's an extra one at the end of
Okay,
this.
I think they got it back there. I'm trying to remember to bring markers next week. So those of you who want markers can. They don't work either. All right, if you would, I see a couple of heads still down writing. Okay. All right. Get in your groups. And in your groups, show each other what you've drawn and why you drew it and what it means. Okay. I'll give you about 5 minutes. 5, 6 minutes, all right? You share it with each other.
Okay, I drew a little heart and then person, Moses, and like going to save the people and they walk across.
Okay, I did a similar thing, I drew the people, leaving, and then I also drew the children, the flood of it, sort of thing. So, I said the children, the staff, because like all of the, or the place where the staff, Moses did everything. So, it's a good symbol. What about you, Alex? Okay, and then same way. How do you walk over the Red
I drew the Egyptians as a monster and God as the stork delivering the Israelites to a paradise island.
Good, I like it. Very good, very creative. Okay, Jason, what came to your mind?
The blood on the door.
Okay. Similar takeaways, I guess.
All right. Yeah, okay. All right, everybody got it? Good. All right, I will show you mine. I didn't do this last couple of weeks. I will show you mine. This is what I came up with on the spur of the moment. All right. This is supposed to be red. This is supposed to be a red cross. Okay. In here, Red Cross. Who took swimming lessons from Red Cross? Yep, I did years ago. You used to do swimming lessons. That's how you learn to swim and take, right? Swimming lessons from the Red Cross. Yeah, cool. Mom would haul you down there in the car. That's what the summers consisted of. I did it all summer. Okay. Swimming lessons, swim test, and the Red Cross. All right. Who's done a swim test? Right? Yeah, right. Somewhere along the line. I like to say, I put a Red Cross on here because this is like God's ultimate swim test, right? For Pharaoh and his armies, right? You know, how well can you tread water, right? In here. So that's what I have in here. And we're going to talk more about that in a minute. Okay. So my next one here is our group that's doing the reading. You guys ready? All right.
After Joseph and all his brothers had died, the Israelites became so numerous that the land was filled with them. Then the new king called Pharaoh came to power in Egypt. The Egyptians put slave matters over the Israelites to oppress them with forced labor. The Israelites groaned in their slavery and cried out. But God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant with them.
Now an Israelite named Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law when the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire within a bush. God called to him,
Moses, take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing in the holy ground. I am the God of your fathers. I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt, so I have come down to rescue them. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people out of Egypt.
Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? I have never been eloquent. I am slow of speech and tongue.
Who gave you human beings their mouths? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I hope you speak, and will teach you what to say.
Please send someone else.
Then the Lord's anger burned down against Moses, and he said,
What about your brother Aaron, the Levite or whatever? You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help you both of you speak and will teach you what to do. Take this staff in your hand so you can perform the signs with it.
Then Moses went to meet Aaron and told him everything the Lord had sent him to say. Moses and Aaron brought together all the elders of the Israelites, and Aaron told them everything the Lord had said to Moses.
Unfortunately, things didn't go so well with Moses and Aaron's first meeting with Pharaoh. He only made their slave labor even more difficult. Then the Lord said to Moses,
Now you will see what I will do to the Pharaoh. Because of my mighty hand, he will let them go. Tell Aaron, take your staff and stretch out your hand over the water of Egypt, and they will turn to blood.
But Pharaoh's heart became hard. He would not listen to Moses or Aaron, just as the Lord had said. The next plague included millions of frogs hopping into every kitchen, every street, and every field in Egypt. Pharaoh agreed to let the Hebrews go if Moses would get rid of the frogs. Moses prayed and the frogs died. But Pharaoh again stubbornly refused to make good on his part of the deal. So Moses hit the dust with his staff, and gnats swarmed the land. Still Pharaoh would not budge. God continued to show his power as he prepared to rescue his people.
The cycle continued through plagues that included swarms of flies, a disease that killed livestock, terrible boils that afflicted people and animals, thunderstorm with destructive hail, devouring locusts, and a frightening time of darkness. After each devastating plague, Pharaoh assured Moses that he could leave with the people. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he was not willing to let them go.
Now the Lord had said to Moses,
I will bring you one more plague on Pharaoh and on Egypt. After that, he will let you go from here.
So Moses said to Pharaoh,
This is what the Lord says. Every firstborn son in Egypt will die, including the firstborn son of Pharaoh. There will be a loud wailing throughout Egypt, worse than there has ever been or ever will be again.
Then Moses, hot with anger, left Pharaoh. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron,
Tell the whole community of Israel that each man is to take a lamb and slaughter it. Then they are to take some of the blood and put it on the doorframes of their houses. On that same night, I will pass through Egypt and strike down every firstborn, both people and animals. And when I see blood, I will pass over you. No destruction plagues will touch you, and when I strike Egypt,
The Israelites did just what the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron. At midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in Egypt. During the night, Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron. Leave my people, you and the Israelites. Take your flocks and herds and go. God had remembered his enslaved people and rescued them. They packed up their carts and prepared for a long journey. By day, the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night, in a pillar of fire to give them light.
When Pharaoh was told that the people had fled, he took 600 of the best chariots, and he pursued the Israelites who were marching out boldly, and overtook them as they camped by sea. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites were terrified and cried out to the Lord. Moses answered the people,
Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still.
Then the Lord said to Moses,
tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground.
Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind. The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground. The Egyptians pursued them, and all Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen followed them into the sea.
Then Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at daybreak the sea went back into its place. The Egyptians were fleeing, and the Lord swept them into the sea. Not one of them survived.
This unforgettable escape impressed upon the Israelites that God was indeed taking care of them. Then the Lord issued a ruling and instruction for them and put them to the test.
If you listen carefully to the Lord your God and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all his decrees, I will not bring on you any of these diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord.
All right, give her a round of applause. Oh, come on. Let's do this again. Give them a round of applause. Yay! There we go. All right. Come on. Okay. What I'd like you to do is the second on your sheet over there, it's where it said hear the story. The second in there. Take a couple minutes. The question is there, what were the key events from the story? All right? What were the key events to you? What were the key events in this story? You can write a couple of things, just write a couple of things down. Okay, it's for you. You don't have to hand it in, a couple of words, whatever you want to do. All right? All right. Get in your groups and share which ones you have. All right. What I want you to do is, because some of you are going to have the same ones, make sure if somebody's got something different, they bring it up. Okay? All right. Give you 5 minutes in your groups.
What about you, Justin?
Like nothing but people who did blue rock college.
What about you, Alice?
I thought they were keywords. But that's where the flag because we use flags to convince the Pharaoh
Did you
to
guys
let them
hear
through.
that one? Okay.
I actually just went through. I put Moses was delivered to Pharaoh's daughter. Moses killed the Egyptian. I think that's important in signifying that we're all sinners. God brought on the plagues. Moses led the Israelites out, and God caused Moses to part and then close the sea.
Very good. I mean, Ty, did some of you guys write that down? That was kind of a good summary. What did it just say? Everybody get the same thing out of that? Pulling out the plagues. That was good.
The mosquitoes, the frogs, the firstborn child, the blood of the water.
To draw some of this stuff.
Well, that's why the first time I wasn't doing it, but this last time I said, okay, how can I put this into a curriculum? That's why.
I'm still getting used to these worksheets and the style of, bullet points. You're a bunch of information and just kind of condense it, so you guys all did a good job. Any questions? Anybody have a question about what heard or listened to?
That's the best thing about you.
Forget all the other parts. And then we finally what else about all the
Expert on this one. Maybe. Everybody been reading? You know what they're reading? What about you, Todd?
Yes.
You're reading?
up front done? Got it? Okay. All right, that's what I want to do with you. All right? Hello. All right. What I want to do is let's get just a listing here of these significant major events. Okay, kind of talk through them. So what did you have on your list? Everybody shared list. Let's get a list. Somebody throw some first table. Give me something. What?
Flags.
What?
The
Plagues. Okay. All right. Then we'll come back. Next table.
God's promise to like not put the plagues on us.
Okay. Okay. I like those plagues, huh? Guys in back. One, yeah.
Moses leading God's people out of Egypt.
Moses out of Egypt, right? Yeah.
Moses on burning bush.
Burning bush. Right? Yeah.
When Jesus parted the sea.
And who parted the sea?
God.
Okay. Red Sea, all right. Guys in the back. Yeah.
Pharaoh's daughter raising Moses as her own.
Okay. We'll put that right up there, all right? Pharaoh's daughter. Okay. Ladies in the front.
That's pretty much all we got.
Got it? Anything else? Yes.
All the firstborn dying.
Ooh, yeah. Okay. Here. Who's the firstborn? Who's the firstborn in their family?
I guess that might be the firstborn.
All right. All right. That one always kind of got me a little, a little on the easy side. Guys in the back, we got anything else? Yeah.
Moses killed the Egyptian.
Okay. Killing the Egyptian. Okay, we'll put that right in there. All right. What else? Yes.
Moses going down the river.
Okay. I'll lump that one right in that one. Okay. Pharaoh's daughter in the river basket. Anything else? Look, you get thought here. All right, Grace.
Oh,
You got a thought? All right. Yes.
Where you put the lamb right over the door.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, put that goes right in there. Yes.
When Pharaoh said that the people could go, but then he changed his mind.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Moses becomes a shepherd.
Shepherd. Okay. All right. Anything else? Yes. Ladies front. Make sure we get everything we wanted in here. Okay. All right. So which ones strike you? Which ones seem odd? All right. Any of them seem odd? Yeah.
All of them.
All of them? How so?
Just the weird things God does.
I think you're right. I just can't hear you. You have to speak up a little louder. You guys in the back can have to speak up a little bit. Okay.
Just the things that God does to, I don't know how to say it.
Oh, you're on the right track. Keep going. I think I know what you're going. Just keep talking. Things that God does what?
To lead the people.
Okay. I think you had an adjective stuck in there, somewhere in there. That I love, by the way. Did I hear you say sometimes things God does seem strange or weird? Yeah, I should have said that, because that's what I was looking for, right? Do these things seem strange?
A little bit.
All right, why?
Kinda do.
Okay,
Like, you don't see them every day.
okay,
Yeah. Bring bush every day.
okay. Yeah. Alex, shake your hand up back there.
She said it.
What?
She said it.
Okay. All right. So it seems so it seems like a strange story.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. A little bit. So what's the strangest thing in it? Yeah, Sam.
I think probably the plague.
Plagues. Okay. How come the plagues? Yeah, somebody speak up. Yeah. Are you just fidgeting, Alexa, or are you over there wanting to chime into this? Yeah. Go ahead.
It's just that you don't really see a flag that often, and then all of them at that around one time period,
Okay.
I guess.
So why do you use plagues? Yes.
Did Pharaoh let the people go, but like putting them underneath a lot of pressure, trying to get rid of all these plagues, just to let people do.
So why didn't God just, right? Because God's God, right?
Yeah.
Right? And since God's God, He can do anything He wants, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, you with me on that? So if God's God, God can do anything He wants, right? So why didn't He just say, Pharaoh, let my people go? And yeah.
Because he wanted to make it obvious it was him.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Like, he wanted to show the Israelites his power, and like, he wanted to show, them that he'll always deliver them, so.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, where's that then? All right. Because you use two words, I want you to, in here, right? Is that there's the word power, right? And the other word is deliver. Okay? Because let's go back to the very first week. What did God promise to do for a changing words, right? What did God promise to do to Adam and Eve? Using look at the wall here, right? This language. What did He promise to do, right? After they ate, what did He promise to do? Right? Yeah. Send a Savior. Or, in other words, say it another way, is deliver them that other problem, right? Yeah, I'm just taking Justin's words. I'm going to get this before the end of the year. Right? For Justin's words, right? Just, right, deliver them from their problem. So what's God doing again here with the Israelites, right? He's delivering them from their problem. Okay. What else? What else strikes you in here as being odd? Yeah.
Pardon me.
What?
Seas aren't usually red, and they don't usually part. What's this red corn?
Well, actually, yeah, it was. He did turn it all to blood, so technically it was
Oops. But they don't part.
That's right. Red's a name, by the way. It's just a name. It's not a statement on the color of the water. It's okay, you know? It's not Kool-Aid. It's okay.
It's not cool.
Part of the red Kool-Aid. Does anybody see Bruce Almighty? See Bruce Almighty, right? In the scene when he's in the, right after he realizes he's got the powers and he's sitting in the restaurant, he parts, right? What's he part? You remember what kind of soup it was? Tomato soup, yeah. He parts tomato soup. And gotta watch it. Funny movie, gotta watch it. Okay, it's your other homework.
What is the song supposed to listen to?
What's that?
What is the song? Give us our homework again.
Fleetwood. Stick with me, all right? Stick with this. We'll come back. Remind later, all right? Because I got something for you. Okay, what else we got? What else in here is one of those things that just
burning bush.
Why?
Because it's not every day we're burning bush that's talking to you.
Okay.
That's why I put that one.
All right. Well, let's go with this. What? Why? Okay. Not every day the burning bush is talking to. You talk to a burning bush. Okay. All right. But it's. What is the bush? Is it just a bush, or what's the bush? You caught who the bush is yet?
God.
Bush is God, right? Okay. So yeah, and there's this. You know, Moses comes face to face with, right? God. Okay. Which is pretty weird in the beginning. Pretty weird, right? As you said, pretty weird. Okay. So let's take this one step further. What's the next weird thing in this story then? In this little piece, all right?
The thing that I really like and hits me is that God, the burning bush, is talking to a sinner, a killer, and using him to do his work, which we're all sinners.
Oh, I love it. You guys catch that? Dr. Blair, say that again. Make sure everybody catches it. Make sure you're hearing what he's saying, right?
The thing that really hits home to me is that God is taking this killer, this guy that killed an Egyptian, and using him to do this mighty work, which talks to me that any of us, because we're all sinners, any of us can do God's work. And that through this, it talks to me that, you know, we all can potentially be Moses's. That's the part to me that talks the most to me about all this.
Got it. With Dr. Gill, Dr. Blair? All right. Because I love it, right? Is that, and continuing on, okay, we're on a roll here, right? What's the next strange thing in this whole story? What hits you in this story about Moses and the burning bush, all right? Can you catch it just from reading the story? Right, so let me help you.
Is it that he was really going to be killed, but, you know, he wasn't. He was saved, and look how God used him.
Right, okay. How God wanted to use him. But kind of slip that in the middle here. Let me kind of walk you through the story here, right? Okay, so we talked in here, okay, Moses here is the shepherd guy, right? And Moses got a happy life, right? Really cool. He's got a great wife, he's got passable kids, he's got great sheep, you know, and it's just cool, right? And one day, right, as I pointed out, right, he comes face to face with who? God. No? Comes face to face with who? The burning bush. We're talking God here. Let's make sure we get this, right? Coming face to face with the Almighty, right? We say God, and it gets kind of nebulous here, right? In here, right? Remember those stories back we talked last week? You know, last 2 weeks, right? Who created Adam and Eve? Last week we talked about, right? God spoke to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The one we missed in the middle of, some of you read anyway for us, right, is Joseph. God talking using Joseph, all right? It's that God. All right? It's the Almighty. It's God Himself, the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's this God here. He comes face to face with this God. And Dr. We pointed out here, right? God sit here and says, he realizes this, using Pastor John's words, right? This knucklehead that Moses is, he tells to Moses, Moses, you're going to go to Egypt and rescue my people. Right? You with me so far? What did Moses do? Be careful. What did he do right after that? Yeah.
And he told God that he's not rescuing that.
Yeah! Did he say once? How many times did he say it?
Twice? I don't know. Wasn't it like 3 times?
It's actually, they've abbreviated in this. If you actually read it in the book of Exodus, he actually says no to God 7 times. Yeah, Grace is going. Yeah, right? You catch it here? God comes to Moses and says, Moses, I want you to go and rescue my people, right? I got this job for you to do. Does Moses think he can do it? No. Nope. Right? And so what's Moses tell God? Yeah.
Doesn't he say that, like, he can't do it because, like, he's not a good speaker? And
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He comes up with all these excuses, right? In here, all right? I'm going to sandbag Dr. Gill here because I know Dr. Gill went to Kenya last time, okay? So when somebody was, I can't, it was Pastor John or Pastor Short, I don't know which one who talked to you first, when they first brought up this idea of you going to Kenya, what was the first thought out of your brain?
My first thought was, I want to go.
Oh, cool!
But I think that stems back to my dad being a missionary.
Okay.
You know, for me, I had always wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it was, you know, a little daunting in the fact that you know, you're going over there and you're having to do basic medicine in the middle of nowhere on diseases that we virtually do not see over here.
Yeah.
You know, malaria,
Right.
typhoid,
Yeah.
stuff like, you know, just,
Yeah.
my mind's going, nutritional
Yeah.
abnormalities and that, so,
Dengue fever and leprosy, and, yeah, all kinds of cool stuff, right?
yeah, so,
Yeah.
so it was daunting from that
Right.
standpoint.
Yeah. Okay. That's the same thing I felt when I went. Because you want me to do what? You're kidding, right, guys? You want me to do what? Right. How many of you guys felt the same one? Right? Right? Show of hands. Who's ever felt the same way, right? Yeah. Okay. If you haven't, you will, right? In here, okay? Moses the same way, okay? Moses the same way, right? But Moses goes and Moses does it because of what? It's on the wall here. Justin said it. Because of what? Who does it? He does it because of God's chocolate. Because of God's power, right? It's God comes to Moses and says, I want you to do this, and it's God working through Moses. All right. And you sit here, I gotta get my crutch, I can't walk. When you're out there, okay, and this is how it extrapolates to our life today. When you get in life, okay, and you get those moments in your life in here where you think, I can't do this. God wants me to do something, I can't do this. Or you sit here and you think, I can't, and we talk about saying or being disciples, right? I can't do this. Okay. Who am I? I'm just 13, right? Just 13. All right? A couple of days, right? Says, how can I do any of this stuff? Okay? Moses had the same question. Same thoughts. Right? Moses goes through, and it's God working through Moses. God works through Moses. God worked through Dr. Gill when he was in Kenya. He works through you. It's not a matter of age. It's not a matter of how smart you are. It's about God working through you. That's one of the promises. That's one of the upper story stuff we talk about in here. Is this God's working through you? All right. Okay. What else? What else strikes you? Okay. That was good. Let's note that. Okay, I want to stop here. Give you an opportunity. All right. You want to watch Buck Denver? Or want me to keep on talking? You want to watch Buck Denver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get on with God's rescue plan now? What's the next book of the Bible?
Right. Thanks for keeping us on target, Buck. Sunday school lady, can you help us out?
Happy to oblige. The second book of the Bible is Genesis, Exodus. Exodus is the story of the Israelites in Egypt, and Moses and the Red Sea, and God's rescue plan really kicking into gear. Let's hear a song about it. Chuck Wagon?
I took a bus from Texas just to sing a song about Exodus, the story of the Israelites enslaved. Until a man named Moses who did just what God had told him to, and Jacob's sons and daughters all were saved. Oh, Texas bus, take me on in Exodus, way beyond this mess and fuss. Take me to the promised land. And we'll discuss what we learned in Exodus about the burning bush and the one who saved his children from the grip of Pharaoh's hand. I took a bus from Texas just to sing a song about Exodus. Now it's done, it's time to head back home. Nice song. But what kind of a word is Exodus anyway?
We can explain that. Pastor Paul?
The word Exodus comes from the Greek word exodos, meaning a going out or departure. Exodus means you're leaving. Time for me to make a bit of an exodus myself, Winifred.
Where are you going?
To the bathroom. Too much tea.
Hurry back.
I can't make any promises. So who's leaving, and where are they leaving from? And why? And where are they going?
Oh, I see we have lots of questions today. Magic flannel graph, let's help them out. The book of Genesis ended with Joseph bringing his dad Jacob and all his brothers to Egypt to live, to save them from a famine. Well, they all liked Egypt, so they stayed. 100 years later, Jacob's grandkids and great-grandkids and great-great-grandkids numbered in the thousands. 100 years after that, they numbered in the tens of thousands. After another 100 years, well, you see where this was going. As Exodus begins, Egypt has a new king called the Pharaoh, who didn't know anything about Jacob or Joseph and wasn't real wild about all these foreigners popping up everywhere. He was afraid these Hebrews, as they called the children of Jacob, might rise up one day and take over Egypt. So he made them slaves and had them work hard making bricks and building cities for him. But still, Jacob's kids had even more kids. So Pharaoh did something terrible. He said that all new Hebrew babies that were boys should be thrown into the Nile River and drowned. Isn't that awful? But Exodus is about God's promises to Abraham, that his children would be a great nation that would have its own land and bless the whole earth. And God never forgets his promises.
It seems like that rescue plan is a little bit stuck.
Yes, for almost 400 years, the children of Israel, that's what we call them because Israel was the new name God gave Jacob, the children of Israel seem stuck in Egypt. Abraham's descendants were certainly multiplying, but they weren't getting their own land, and they were slaves. But God was about to get his rescue plan back in gear, as it's time to meet one of the most important people in the Bible and in all of history, a guy named Moses. Have you heard of him?
Who's Moses? Well, I don't really know the whole thing. Moses obeyed God when he talked to God, which was in a burning bush. He sent his voice down into a burning bush, and it just didn't burn. It wouldn't burn. So Moses knew that it was some holy bush. He lifted up his staff, and God parted the Red Sea so that the Israelites could go through. By the power of God, it helped. He helped him do that when he said, "Throw down your staff, stab your staff." It included his staff a lot, I'll tell you that.
This is a story about a boy. His name was Moses, and it brought his mom such joy. She had to hide him, it makes me shiver, to keep old Pharaoh's men from throwing him in the river.
A Hebrew baby was born and hidden in a reed basket at the edge of the Nile River. And who should find him but Pharaoh's own daughter, who adopted him and named him Moses. He was raised in the royal palace, but still knew he was a Hebrew, a child of Israel. And one day, when he saw an Egyptian beating another Hebrew, he got so mad he sort of overreacted.
Did he call him a name?
No. He killed him.
He what?
Yep, he killed the Egyptian.
Well, that couldn't have gone over very well.
No, it didn't. When Pharaoh found out, he said Moses had to die, and so Moses did what most sensible people would do.
What's that?
He took off running.
And now he's running for his life, out to the desert where he finds himself a wife.
Her name's Zipporah.
And now he's hiding out with his sheep, 'cause he knows back in Egypt he's in trouble deep.
Now, you probably know this story. So Moses is in the desert when God shows up in a bush.
Wait, God is in a bush?
Well, he's speaking through a bush. Not an ordinary bush, though. It's burning. That makes it more dramatic.
Right, I can see where that would make it more dramatic.
Right, more dramatic than a regular bush. But what if the bush was a dancing bush or a juggling bush? That'd be dramatic, wouldn't it?
Let's stay focused.
Sorry.
Damn. So God tells Moses to go back to Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let his people go. And Moses says, "I don't want to." And God says, "I want you to." And Moses says, "I can't." And God says, "You can." And Moses says, "Will you come with me?" And God says, "Of course I will." And so Moses goes back to Egypt to face down Pharaoh.
This is a story about a man who faced a stubborn king that didn't understand that when you park your stubborn self right in God's way, let's just assume you're gonna have a lousy day. Oh, there were gnats and frogs, and the river turned to blood, and there were flies and boils, and the cows fell with the flood, and then the locusts came and ate up all the crops, and there was hail and darkness, but he wouldn't stop saying no.
That's right. Pharaoh still wouldn't let them go. So God had to do something very serious. Remember about the Egyptians drowning the Hebrew baby boys? Well, sometimes bad things you do have a way of coming back to you. The final plague was the death of Egypt's firstborn sons. It was terribly sad, but it finally convinced Pharaoh to let the children of Israel go.
To protect their own sons from the final plague, God told the Israelites to sacrifice a spotless lamb, a lamb without flaw, and put the blood on the doorposts of their homes. The angel that brought death to the Egyptian sons saw the blood on the doorposts and passed over the Israelite homes. Jewish people celebrate this miraculous part of God's rescue plan each year with a festival called Passover.
Wait a minute. What was so special about that lamb that it could save the life of a boy?
There was nothing special about the lamb. It was just a regular lamb. But God used a spotless lamb as a lesson about sin and a sign of something that would happen much later in his rescue plan.
So, what was the lesson?
He was reminding them that the price of sin is death. Death was coming to the Egyptians that night because of their sin. But the Israelites weren't perfect either. In 400 years in Egypt, most of them had forgotten all about God. They were doing whatever they wanted to do. So the lamb at Passover was a reminder that sin takes our life away. Rather than losing their sons, God let them use lambs as a sacrifice for their own sin, to take the place of their sons.
That sort of reminds me of Abraham and Isaac.
What do you mean?
Well, God provided that ram to take the place of Isaac. Isaac didn't have to die. Instead, the ram took his place on the altar.
Oh, it's connected. Yep, God does that a lot. The ram instead of Isaac and the lamb instead of the sons of Israel are both signs God used to point ahead to his ultimate rescue plan. His ultimate plan for saving us from the power and the price of sin.
Tell me that part.
I can't. It's in the New Testament and we're not there yet.
Reds. I'm back. What did I miss?
Oh, there were flies and frogs and bugs and all the cattle died.
Sounds like a visit from my nephews. So there you have it. Exodus. God rescues his people from you.
All right. A couple things I want to share with you in here. All right. I want you to, on the back of your sheets, to write this picture down. And make sure you bring this sheet back next week, because I want to talk about this and expand on this. All right? Because the story we've talked about this week, tonight, can be described in a picture. Now, I'm not going to do the drawing the pictures. I'm going to use the words in here. All right? But you have Abraham's children. All right? We talked about that, how this promise going in here, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Abraham's children end up going down into Egypt and end up in slavery. Alright? And while they're in slavery, God comes to his people. Alright? God comes to his people, and God does his thing with his people, and they end up with freedom. Alright? With me? Basics, this is the story we're talking about tonight, basic in a simple diagram. Alright? Got here, right? Abraham's children are in slavery in Egypt, and God comes and works and delivers them to freedom. Alright? Alright? He delivers them to freedom through what? The Red Sea. The Red Sea is made up of what?
Water.
Water, right? Okay, we're talking freedom, we're talking deliverance from slavery, we're talking water. What sacrament are we talking about? Thank you. Right? All of a sudden, what you talked about last year, hello. Right? It means something, okay? It's the same thing, all right? We are his children. We're enslaved to sin. God comes and works, and we are free from sin. Same story, okay? I'm running late on here. Okay. I have a supply of forms for the Missouri District Junior High Retreat. Okay? All right. I think a bunch of them were emailed to parents. Yeah. Okay. All right. Here. Okay. You want to pass them out? Okay. All right. No, go right ahead.
Okay, so,
Stand up. Speak up.
the
for buying the bikes. It's gonna be this coming Sunday. So if you guys would like to help us by like baking stuff and then bringing it, and then also helping us like sell all the stuff between services, that'd be really good. So.
Chocolate.
And don't forget your money as well.
Right, okay,
And the baked goods.
okay,
And your money, and their baked goods.
all right.
Oh, and if it could be like stuff that's like, can be individual, like
Okay.
like cupcakes.
All right.
And
Somebody asked earlier, I said, bring this, let me use your, bring this back with you, okay? All right, your assignment for next week is to read chapter 5, all right? To read chapter 5. And the song that I referenced before the beginning of class was Fleetwood Mac's Landslide. All right? Fleetwood Mac Landslide. All right? Yes, you can let your parents listen to it.
Could I recommend the song to you?
Yeah, write it down. So I remember. Okay.
which song?
That's, yeah, okay. And the other thing is, all right, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay. Leaders, you've got 10 minutes or so. Do the bottom half of this to join the story, if you would, on the story we talked about. Alexa and Cambry are exempt from chairs. They set them up earlier. If everybody else would help get chairs stacked up, that'd be great. All right, thank you.